Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soulful Sessions with Rory, the podcast where we dive deep into the matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. I'm your host, Rory, and I'm thrilled to embark on this soulful journey with each and every one of you. Soulful Sessions is your safe space for introspection, inspiration, and maybe even a little revelation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, winding down after a long day, or just seeking a moment of connection, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's soulful exploration, I want to remind you that Soulful Sessions with Rory is designed for entertainment purposes only. While we may touch on profound topics and meaningful discussions, it's important to approach our conversations with an open heart and a sense of curiosity. Life is a journey, and so is this podcast. We'll navigate the realms of self-discovery, spirituality, and personal growth. But remember, the insights we share here are not a substitute for professional advice or guidance. Always consult with the appropriate professionals regarding your unique circumstances. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just dipping your toes into the waters of self-exploration, get ready for a blend of wisdom, laughter, and a touch of magic in each episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a soulful moment. Follow me on social media, Instagram, Listening Veteran, Facebook, The Listening Veteran, and Snapchat at Soulful Sessions to stay connected, share your thoughts, and be a part of this incredible community. Now let the journey begin. Sit back, relax, and let's fill our souls together. Today's soulful episode is Living in the Past While Ignoring Your Future. That's right, living in the past while ignoring your future. So let me first explain what I mean by that. So living in the past is when you think about regret, when you think about the things you should have done, you could have done, that you would have done. Living in the past can be how we raised our children. Living in the past could be, turning down a job opportunity because we chose something else. Living in the past can be thinking about the hurt, the pain, and everything else that people have done to you. So I know a lot of us, we get to a place in our lives where we're just bitter. We're angry. We're upset. And when I ask, well, what's wrong? Well, you don't know how people treated me. You don't know how bad it was. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know how they hurt me. I will not belittle or berate your hurt. I will not say that it wasn't a valuable part of your life. But what I will say, that sometimes we have to learn to let go of the hurt, to let go of the pain, to let go of the struggle. See, when you live in your past, you're constantly with your back turned. If I got my back turned, I cannot see what's currently in front of me. If I got my back turned, I can't see the road ahead. And the reason I can't see this is because I'm worried about what's happening behind me. That's what living in the past is. Living in the past, you allow yourself this moment of regret, this grief. I would try to explain to some people that there's a difference between mourning and grieving. And for me, and this is something that I came up with. This is not, a definition per se, but for me, when you grieve something, then you take that moment and you acknowledge it for what it is. And in that moment, you have these deep thoughts, these moments, and it could be sadness. It could just be missing something. It could be a lot of things. But once that moment is over, you decide to move forward. Well, mourning, to me, mourning is when you consistently grieve without stopping, meaning that you continuously go on and on about things. And sometimes we grieve some of the weirdest things, such as our childhood. For men, and I'm only going to speak for men I'm only going to speak for men in this moment because it's something that I've seen, maybe experienced. A lot of men are identified by their jobs and by the money that they make, so they think. And I say so they think because that identification is self-inflicted. Now don't get me wrong, there are some people in society that determines a man's worth by how much money he makes or what job he holds or just what he does for a living. And when they stop being that person to the people around them or even to themselves, they tend to mourn the person that they used to be. They mourn things that they used to do. I remember when I got to a certain point in my career in the military, I couldn't run as fast as I used to. I couldn't do as many push-ups. I couldn't do the things physically that I used to be able to do. I began to mourn the older version of me. And in that mourning, unfortunately, I couldn't see the new version. I couldn't see a way to adapt and to adjust to this new person that I was. And I couldn't appreciate it. So when you're mourning, you tend to miss the lesson. When you're mourning, you tend to miss an opportunity. And so unfortunately, when you're mourning something like a job, because we do mourn our jobs. Oh, I should have stayed with that job. I should have stayed with this company. It was doing this, it was doing that. When you're mourning, you don't get to see the opportunities in front of you currently, but not just that. You don't even look at what that past experience did for you. So in other words, mourning is about loss. Living in the past is about what you lost. So let's talk about the past with just a job situation, and we'll go into other ones here in a minute. So if you lost a job, got fired, quit, the company closed, a variety of things, and you're still stuck on it being the best job you ever had, then you're not preparing yourself for what's next. More importantly, you're not looking at the value of who you are in the current moment. So what you do is you take the life lessons from that job and you use those for your next opportunity. You allow yourself to start moving forward. You say, you know what? I remember this job. It taught me so much about leadership. It taught me so much about teamwork. And here are the things that I learned. And I'm going to use this to find my next position, or I'm going to use this to move into the next phase of my life. And so you're no longer looking backwards at what was. You can't think about how bad they treated you. You can't think about what they did to you, or how the receptionist didn't speak in the mornings, or, how people were just upset with you for no reason. It's the past. You have to live in the here and now and prepare for tomorrow. Well, let's talk about relationships. Living in the past with relationships. There have been times when I've ended a relationship and I was so angry. I was angry at what I felt I allowed to happen in that relationship. Rory, you allowed her to do this to you and do that to you. You should have done this. You should have done that. Well, you know what? That's how you let people run over you. You should have. And I focused so much on the past, I didn't allow myself to live in the present. So unfortunately, when you start dating someone else, guess what? You're still holding on to your past trauma. You're still looking at this person as if they were all the people before you. You're looking at them because they're going to hurt you just like everybody else did. But that's because you're looking in the past. You turned around again. But if you look at the here and now, you remove the hurt from your past. You remove all the disdain, all the mistrust. And I'm not saying just dive in and trust people, though I think you should, but that's a whole nother topic. What I am saying is that when you start dealing with someone else, deal with them in the here and now. So if that person does something that reminds you of the past, stop and ask. Don't assume. Oh, I know, she did this, so she clearly is just like this person. Oh, he did this. He's clearly just like this person. No, that's you living in the past. Now, does that mean that sometimes these people aren't doing those things? Well, no, sometimes they could be doing it. So I'm not saying be oblivious to what's going on. What I'm saying is don't live your life waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because see, that's truly what living in your past is all about. You're waiting for the tragedies of life, waiting for all the things to go wrong that could possibly go wrong. Same thing with a job. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you're sitting outside waiting in that car because you hate going inside. You're spending 30 minutes out front. You got to work early, but you're sitting outside for 30 minutes before you go in because you just know when you get in there, something bad is going to happen. Why? Because something happened yesterday. Something happened the day before that. Something happened as long as you've been there. But answer me this question. Was there ever a time that you expected, keyword, expected good things to happen to you? Was there ever a time that you waited for the good things to happen in your life? that you waited for a boss, a supervisor, for a friend, a coworker, for somebody to say something good for you? Did you look forward to the positive moment in your life? Or have you constantly been looking behind you, constantly looking for the other shoe to drop? Living in the past will cause you to ignore your future because you're focused on what happened. You're not focused on what's happening. You're not focused on what could happen in a positive way. I added that in a positive way because a lot of people, they are looking at what could happen, but they're looking at it from a negative perspective. And they're saying to themselves, oh, I knew that was going to happen. They're saying to themselves, see, this is why I don't do this, because this always happens to me. So a friend of mine years ago, I had these fantastic dating stories, and they are fantastic. I think I might do a series on them. And at the end of each story, or excuse me, at the beginning of each story, I would simply say, this shit only happens to me, you know? And one day I'm telling another one of my stories, and she goes, you got to stop saying that. I said, what do you mean? You have to stop saying that this only happens to you, because guess what? It will keep happening to you. Now, me being the positive person that I am, I had to stop and think about that for a second. Okay, so she may have a valid point. And so I start practicing not saying it. And I'm going to tell you, I missed it. I missed the negativity. I missed the chaos of saying it. So what you may not realize is that this chaos is something you're already addicted to. You're addicted to living in the past. Let me explain. When you meet an old friend and y'all walk up to each other and say, hey, how you doing? Oh man, I'm doing great. You know, my mama died. Then the other person turns around and they say, yeah, my brother got shot, or, I got cancer, or I got these problems. Now, I'm not saying that these aren't serious issues that should be discussed, but a lot of times we focus on everything negative. We don't look at the victory in any of our situations, because in the past, we've had some terrible things happen. But here's what we're not focusing on. In the past, we went through so much, so many things, and it was difficult. But what was the key word to what I just said? Through. We went through. That means you overcame. That means that it happened and you got through it. Well, some people will say, well, Rory, but death, you can't get through death. I lost my mother. I lost my father. I lost my wife. I lost my husband. I lost my best friend. You can't bring them back, but you can change how you feel about the situation. No, not death, the relationship. See, you focus so much on what you lost, you never could tell somebody what you gained. When I lost my dad, I lost one of the funniest men I ever met. When I tell you, this man will sit there and tell you a story and it would be hilarious. My father played a cruel joke on me. Well, I won't say it was cruel, but at the time I did. I thought it was cruel, where he made some popcorn. I love popcorn. And in making this popcorn, he put hot sauce all in the popcorn. Now, for me, I'm willing to try something new. He's eating it like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. And I'm looking like, I put butter on my popcorn, not hot sauce. He said, you should try it. It's great. Okay. So I tried the popcorn. Oh my God, it was delicious. Before I knew it, I ate up a bowl and I was like, make another one. Ate up that bowl too, full of hot sauce. So here's something I did not know that my father was privy to, information he was privy to. Did you know that popcorn doesn't digest in your system? Huh, how about that? So imagine if popcorn doesn't digest and it has hot sauce all over it, it's probably gonna exit your system in a very serious way. Well, lo and behold, it did. And let me just be the first to tell you that I had a very unpleasant evening, very unpleasant. And he thought it was hilarious. And I would have to agree, rightfully so. So just like I sat here and I told you the story about my dad, I didn't tell you how he died. I didn't tell you about the sorrowful moments leading up to his death. I told you about the good things about him. So I'm not living in the past. I'm just talking about an experience. When you live in the past, you can only focus on those negative things that hurt you over and over and over again. I will not be another victim. Who said you were? A victim is ongoing. You don't have to be a victim. Once you claim victory, then what you are is the student of a lesson. The lesson you learned from your past to help you manage your present and look forward to a better future. I know plenty of us have had financial issues. Some of us have not. When you have a financial problem, what lesson does it teach you? Or are you looking at the past where you had that problem and you're constantly focusing on that problem because you were there before, and now you're living in a moment where you don't have to worry about money, but your brain is still telling you you're still that person. You're still that person living check to check. You're still that person working a low-wage job. You're still that person in that financial struggle because you're living in the past. You're not looking at all your bills are getting paid without you having to worry when your next payday is. You're not looking at you're able to go out and do things that you normally would not do. Instead, you're focusing on the past, and you're not even planning for a bright future. So what you need to do, or what you could do to help you not focus on the past, is create goals. Make a list. Make a list of all the things that you want to happen every day. And hopefully these things are positive. You make that list every day. Here's what I want my day to look like. When I go to work, I want everybody to be in a good mood. Here's what I want my day to look like. I want my children to be positive. I want my children to see the best in everything. Here's what I want my day to look like. I want to get to work, do my job, and go home without any issue. I look forward to this because this is what's going to happen for me. Now, some people will say, but Rory, that's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to expect good things to happen. Did you hear yourself? You can expect everything bad to happen, but it's unrealistic to expect good things to happen. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if that makes sense to me, because just as much as I believe bad things can happen, I want to believe that good things can happen. I see myself in a different light, and so should you. So instead of focusing on your past, I want you to set goals for your future. I want you to plan for your success. Every morning that you wake up, you should be telling yourself, it is going to be a great day. Something different is going to happen today that's going to change my life. Something's going to happen. So if you're looking at life from the perspective of the future, your future is bright and full of success. But you got to believe it. You got to say it. You can't just sit here and be like, oh yeah, my future is bright. It might happen, but. Yeah, because but discourages everything. So stop living in your past. I'm sorry they hurt you. I'm sorry they made you feel less than. I'm sorry they belittled you, berated you. But that was then. It's not now. But Rory, they are doing it now. That's another topic, because only one person can validate you, and that's you. So if you're allowing other people to tell you who you are, that's a separate issue. Your past does not determine who you are. When you hear the term being a product of your environment, to a lot of people, that means like, yeah, you grow up in the hood, then you're going to have this, this, this. Well, if you grow up with both parents, you're going to have this, this, and this. What if I told you that being a product of your environment was not true? What if I told you that you are a product of your decision, not your environment? Because you get to decide who you're going to be. So instead of looking at your past as the guide, you create your future. You create the present. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Or did you stop looking in the mirror because you didn't like what you saw? Well, if you didn't like what you saw, that's because you allowed someone else's image of you to be present. Someone's version of you to be present. I've gotten called names before. I've been talked about. I've been told how not good at things I am. I've been called a lot of things. And the one thing that stood out was nothing. Not because of anything more than I learned a long time ago. Nobody can tell you who you are. You are exactly who you need to be when you need to be that person. It's not arrogance. It's not confidence. It's knowing who you are, knowledge of self. When you know who you are, nobody else can tell you. Well, Rory, how do I find out who I am? You don't have to find out. You decide. You decide who you want to be. There was a movie a long time ago with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. And Leonardo DiCaprio pretended to be a pilot. And this was based on a true story. And in being that pilot, he got to fly all over the world. He flew planes, literally. And he cashed checks. He did all this stuff. And it was because he decided who he was going to be. Let me be clear. I'm not asking you to commit any kind of fraud. What I'm asking you to do is to make a decision on who you're going to be. Once you make that decision, you believe in yourself. Once you make that decision, you keep it to yourself. Privacy is power. Nobody has to know the version of you that you've decided to be. I had somebody tell me when I was putting all the positive quotes and positive things on Facebook, man, that's not you. You don't talk like that. You from Chicago. Nobody can tell me who I am. And the person I would like to become, that's my choice. And so I have already decided the man that I'm going to be. The man that I was, the man that I could have been is irrelevant. And not you or you can tell me who I'm supposed to be. I don't care what history you had with me. See, because you knew the old version, and the old version of me was 5 minutes ago. The new version of me is yet to come. Stop living in your past and ignoring your future. Your future is waiting on you. But if you're focused on what's behind you, you can never see what's in front of you. So you have to let go of those things that you can't change. You have to let go of the hurt. You have to let go of the pain. You have to let go of the disappointment. More importantly, let go of the fear. See, because fear is just a derivative of anger. Living in the past. A lot of us like to live in the past because we're afraid. If we live in the past, we don't have to worry about the future. And then if we live in the past, we can always say, see, I knew that was going to happen. For years, I had no problem with predicting how relationships were going to turn out. Why? Because I looked for everything negative to happen, and it was in my past. So when it did happen in my current, I would go, see, I knew it. I knew that person was going to be like that. I manifested every negative possibility you could think about. So I need you to learn from my lessons, and I want you to manifest all the positive things that can happen in your life. Manifest a wonderful spouse. Manifest beautiful children, intelligent children. Manifest prosperity. Manifest all the things that are possible for you. And don't forget, your dreams are so important. But don't forget to turn those dreams into goals. Turn those goals into plans. And then do what the plans ask you to do. And don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay. You're human, and it's okay to be human. I really enjoy when you take this trip with me. It pleases my soul. So thank you, beautiful souls, for joining me today on another enlightening episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit. As we navigate the depths of introspection and explore the boundless possibilities of the human spirit, remember that your journey is uniquely yours, and every twist and turn is a sacred part of your story. Embrace the whispers of your soul, and may the echoes of our conversation linger in your heart, sparking a flame of self-discovery. Until we meet again in the realm of shared wisdom, stay true to your essence, stay connected to the rhythm of your soul, and always remember that you are a masterpiece in the making. Wishing you love, light, and infinite possibilities on your soulful journey. Until next time, this is Rory signing off with gratitude and reverence for the magic that resides in each and every one of you.